As a machinist, every now and again, you will see technologies come out that absolutely change the game in the way certain things are done. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in today's video. There are several technologies that I'm about to show you that absolutely made my life so much easier when processing this part. And it all starts with this Kennametal tool. Now this isn't carbide, this is actually Cermet, which is a ceramic-based material. This allows me to run at a way higher surface footage, and it makes it easy to break a chip. And I know what you're thinking, whoop-de-doo, you could break a chip, right? Every machine can do that. Well, on Swiss machines, you only get one chance to cut your material. On bigger machines, we can do things like take multiple passes or use a negative insert, but once I cut this down, there's nothing to support the part anymore. So your material is your work holding. If you can't break the chip in that cut, that's the situation you have to deal with. And on steels, on these smaller diameters, it can be really, really tricky to break the chip. So with this tool, I'm allowed to run at a way higher surface footage, which allows me to run at a way faster feed rate, which makes it very, very easy to break the chip. I mean, really, look at this. I mean, that looks like a normal lathe chip, right? It's actually really, really impressive how well it worked. All right, so check this out. This thing right here really blew my mind. We have a horn insert in a graph tool shank in a W&F live holder. With those three technologies together, I was blown away at how not only did I have a perfect run out, but this thing absolutely rips through material. If you are doing any kind of keyway cutting on a Swiss machine, you really want to consider this. This thing works really, really well. All right, so now to show you how programming all of this can actually be really easy. Come to my computer, I wanna show you. All right, so the part we're making today is a spline shaft. So let's hop into our simulation and take a look at how all this works. So the first thing is you face off into your chamfer on the front. And then after that, I groove behind the first spline section. That way when I run the key cutter through my spline, the burr goes out into the chamfer and it's not in the spline. It won't affect the functionality of the part. Now you'll notice something here. I turn my OD last, and that's because on a Swiss machine, your material is the work holding. If you turn away your material, the part won't be supported. So I actually put the spline on there first, and then I come in and I skim the OD to get the part to size. And this is a really nifty trick you can do in a lot of applications on a Swiss machine, is you can actually turn the material away last and do other milling operations like this. So yeah, you'll see right here, it comes in, it turns the OD, and then I drop in with that Kennametal Cermet insert, and I absolutely rip the stock away. And this right here will probably be my favorite part of the simulation. This was the one thing I was worried about when processing this part, is we're gonna come in and we're gonna grab the front section of splines with the sub-spindle, and then we're gonna machine all the splines in between spindles. And this can be kind of hard to imagine in your head, right? You have a lot of moving parts. Multiple things synchronized with each other. You gotta be very, very careful. And to have everything laid out like this so I can see what's gonna go on before I go up to the machine is essential. One wrong line of code right here, and you could break multiple things that cost thousands of dollars. You don't wanna do that. So the way Solidcam lays it out for you and shows you what this is gonna look like before we run it is really, honestly, it's very, very nice. It's very, very simple. Again, that tool from Horn that does this really ripped through that stock. I was blown away at how it functioned like that. Normally those tools chatter like crazy. The fact that I could just drop in there with that rigid of a tool and just rip my splines away like that, really, I have been very, very, very impressed with that tool. So yeah, you'll see I come in here now and I turn away the OD of my part. You can see both spindles are synced together. One thing you might be wondering is, how do you get that part out of the machine? Because my ejector right here can only take a 4.5 inch long part. So if your part's 12 inches, then what do, right? Well, that's exactly what I want to show you, because Tornos actually has a very, very clever way to get the part out of the machine. All right, so let's take the covers off this thing. I want to show you how it works. It's very, very simple, but also very, very brilliant. So we will pop these covers off. Okay, so like I said earlier, we have a problem with this part. This right here is our normal part ejector. So, and I'm pretty sure you can see this, this part won't go through that very, very well. Like, it just won't, like that, it's just too long, right? So our only choice now is to actually feed the part through the spindle and out the back of the machine into a tray. So all it requires to eject this part is simply making another part. The parts themselves are what is ejecting the part. Each part you make will push the previous part out through the tube and into this tray. Now there is one extremely vital thing I want to talk to you about, and that is the diameter of your part to the inside diameter of your tube. If your part is less than 50% the diameter of your tube, what can happen is your parts can stack in the tube. And if you do this, it will start a fire. Definitely don't ask why I know that, but it will. So you need to make sure that your tube diameter is very, very close to the diameter of your part. That way, instead of overlapping like this, they'll push each other through and make this whole system work flawlessly. So a cool thing to show you too is one thing you gotta realize with this is that X has to move, right? So they actually make a pretty cool little slot right here. This will allow the X4 axis to move left and right without doing any damage to the outside of the machine. And another thing I do want to say is I have all the covers off this right now so I could show it to you. Normally this is completely enclosed. You can't just stick your hand in there or anything like that, but it also makes it impossible for me to show you, so I took it off. All right, well that is it for our video today, guys. I walked you through all the little different tricks and tips for running a longer part like this on a Swiss machine. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button. Also subscribe because we make content like this all the time. And also don't be stupid, ring that notifications bell. See ya. Q-Berry's Machining.